Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be going back to the past, in a much more simple time of 2018 when Black Ops 4 first came out. Because for me, Black Ops 4 is a top 3 COD of all time. The point of this video is not to try to say that if you don't think it's a top 3 game, then you're wrong. But the whole point of this video is just for me to get nostalgic and talk about how much I love Black Ops 4 and why it's a top 3 COD of all time in my opinion, and why Call of Duty developers nowadays need to look back at a game like Black Ops 4 and take some of the stuff that was fantastic about that game and implement that stuff going forward so that the Call of Duty franchise could be a lot more fun than what it is currently. Let's start off with the multiplayer side of things. The multiplayer in Black Ops 4 was incredibly unique. One of the most unique CODs ever if you think about it. Advanced Movement, of course, was also unique, but we had 3 different games with that. We never had a game before or after that was like Black Ops 4. We had 150 health by default, which I think a lot of people actually didn't like. I saw a lot of criticism in regards to that. But 150 health encouraged gun skill. You had to actually win your gunfights. If some guy's just camping in a random corner and he gets to jump on you, he has to actually get his shots, and chances are if they're hiding in a corner, they're not very good at shooting anyway, and then you end up winning that gunfight. Having that extra health made gunfights a lot more interesting. It made weapons feel a lot more unique as compared to a game like Modern Warfare 2, not to be too negative here, but a lot of the weapons in more current, more recent, more fast time to kill CODs sort of feel the same. You put the same attachments on everything, every gun's good, everything, and that's it. Pretty much, right? In Black Ops 4, because of that extra health, SMGs were a lot better up close, whereas rifles were a lot better at a range, and so on and so forth. The game felt incredibly unique, and 150 health was definitely a big contributing factor towards that. Then we had Specialists, which was not unique at the time, and we've had plenty of games with Specialists, but I will say that the Specialists in Black Ops 4 were fantastic. They had unique abilities that did not overtake the entire Call of Duty experience, in my opinion. I saw a lot of people saying that the Specialist in Black Ops 4 or any other Call of Duty game really kind of just felt like free kill streaks to an extent. Like they don't have to do anything and they get this free kill streak and I die all the time to them. But I think those people are just like misremembering, or I don't know. Like I rarely died to Specialist abilities in Black Ops 4. Oftentimes they would benefit me greatly, whereas people on the other team rarely actually use their Specialist correctly, and as a result maybe I would occasionally die to like a grab slam or something like that, but those were very few and far between, like one time a match, if that. You know, it seems like Specialist abilities were actually a bit of a skill factor to an extent in that game. And you would also build this attachment to the different characters in the game as well as their abilities and trying to get better with them while still having the fun, fast-paced Call of Duty experience that we've all come to expect. I felt like Specialists were great in that game. I really enjoyed using them. I enjoyed unlocking everything I could for them in terms of like the number skins and things like that, and I enjoyed trying to get good with every single Specialist. And when the map would load up, let's say it's domination on whatever map, I would know, okay, I definitely want to play this Specialist here based on how I play, whereas if I'm playing Team Deathmatch on a different map, I may pick a different Specialist. If I'm playing Search and Destroy, I may pick a different Specialist for that. I thought they added a lot to the COD multiplayer without making it not feel like COD, if that makes any sense. So Specialists were fantastic, and the score streaks were super strong in this game, man. I would usually run some of the lower stuff, but like the Hellstorm, the Lightning Strike, the Sniper's Nest, the Mantis, the AC-130, like the streaks in this game were very rewarding if you actually could earn them. And again, you had to earn them with 150 health on every single player, so that was pretty interesting. Like if you were a good player, you would consistently earn these streaks because people can, again, just hide in a corner, lay prone in the bush, you know, take you out with whatever OP weapon. This was before the VMP, mind you. So like the score streaks were super good and they were fun to earn. Whereas if you guys have been watching my channel over recent years, I mean, how often do I even go for high streaks in COD anymore? They're just frustrating to go for, more or less, and they're not very rewarding once you actually get them. So what's even the point? I mostly just run like UAV and counter UAV nowadays and turn my character into the kill streak. Whereas in Black Ops 4, I actually had fun going for the lethal kill streaks. On top of that, to round out the multiplayer side of things, we had a proper prestige mode, including Treyarch's 1000 levels of Prestige Master, which was fantastic. You had a normal prestige system, which fans love, which they got rid of for God knows what reason. And then on top of that, after you hit Prestige Master, every 100 levels of Prestige Master, you could unlock old prestige icons from games like like World at War, Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, and Black Ops 3 to add a bit more nostalgia to the current game. I personally, every time I would level up or whatever, I would rock a different World at War prestige icon, and that always felt good because World at War was the very first COD I ever hit max rank in. Back in the day in World at War, this is just another nod to Treyarch, I suppose, there was a hidden achievement in the game called Go Get Some Sun for 0 gamer score, where you hit the max level in the game, it's time to go find some other things to do. They would poke fun at their own player base for hitting 10th prestige within World at War. So cool, right? So I enjoyed getting those icons once again, and having a proper leveling system just made it feel so good. It felt like I was always working towards something, even if the game wasn't exactly going my way. And on top of that, in terms of working towards things, we had proper challenges back in Black Ops 4, including 100%er, which was kind of lame, I'm not gonna lie. Like, the 100%er reward was simply a calling card in a game that had like thousands of calling cards, therefore it didn't look all that unique. I still to this day wish the rewards were better, but we still had challenges to go for and try to complete, and there was a reward at the end. That's something they should definitely work on going forward. We should definitely see more ideas like 100%er in the COD series, but they just don't care about that, because I think even the devs now are like, it's a 1-year game, you know, who cares? We'll just get them to buy the game, make them happy enough to want to buy the next game, and then just keep on repeating that cycle essentially. But yeah, I mean, having proper prestige mode, having challenges, 100%er, all the different specialists to try to master, the core gameplay itself with the 150 health, the wide variety of game modes, the wide variety of multiplayer maps, which we'll be talking about here in a second, having all of that made Black Ops 4's multiplayer feel fantastic. But when I talk about this being a top 3 game, I'm not only talking about the multiplayer, I'm talking about everything. So on top of the multiplayer, we of course had the DLC season. This was actually pretty controversial at the time, and it's still controversial considering this was the last paid season pass and map pack system that we've had in the Call of Duty franchise. Ever since then, starting with Modern Warfare 2019, we now have battle passes which you can buy, and there are free multiplayer maps and free DLC updates. Well, with Black Ops 4, we had 14 maps at launch, which included several remakes to be fair, but then we had 20 post-launch maps on top of that. And the DLC that we got in Black Ops 4, unlike the free maps that we get now, had a lot of content, and that's because of the paid nature of the Black Ops Pass and the different map packs that would release. I mean, just taking for example here, let's look at Operation Absolute Zero. There was Operation First Strike before this one, but that really wasn't that big of a deal. It had a 200 tier battle pass, but other than that, Operation First Strike was just like get your foot in the door kind of a DLC for Black Ops 4. The first proper DLC, in my opinion, for Black Ops 4 was Operation Absolute Zero, and in there we got a new submachine gun, a new assault rifle, a new machine pistol, 2 melee weapons, 2 brand new maps, a new specialist, 3 new game modes, an update to the Blackout map, daily callings and zombies, the Dead of the Night Zombies map, and a 100 tier battle pass that had 100 items in it that was completely free. Right? Now compare all that content to the maybe 2 maps and maybe 2 guns that we get nowadays, and you can see that there was inherently a lot more value in each DLC update back when we were actually paying for DLC. Now, I'm not saying that I think paid DLC should return. I think we are well past that at this day and age, but I am saying it does suck how bad DLC updates have gotten over the years since the post-launch maps and the post-launch weapons have gone free. We're getting less content, we're getting less updates, and the quality of the updates is way worse than back when we were paying for DLC. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that it should return. I'm just saying the content that we got back when we were paying was much better. Now, moving away from multiplayer here, let's go ahead and talk about zombies. I'll try to keep this short and sweet. I'm not really much of a zombies YouTuber or anything like that, but Black Ops 4 Zombies was solid. I mean, it wasn't the greatest zombies game ever made, but it was pretty simple. There was a full prestige system. There was weapon customization and weapon leveling following the systems that were first introduced back in Black Ops 3, and there was a reason to play zombies every single day with the daily free tier skip challenge as well as the daily contracts. Now, doing these contracts awarded you supply drops because not only was Black Ops 4 the last game to feature a season pass, but it was also the last game to feature supply drops. With those supply drops, we could have a chance to unlock post-launch content, which is what made me play a lot more zombies than I otherwise probably would have. I wanted to go in there every day to get my free daily tier skip on the battle pass. I wanted to go in there and do do my challenges every single day so I could earn those supply drops. Because while supply drops were inherently a bad feature for the COD series overall, I think they did a lot more bad than they did good. But the saving grace of the supply drop system was, at the very least, you had a chance of getting content that you otherwise would not be able to get whatsoever. Nowadays, there is no chance at all to get like post-launch cosmetic content at all. You have to buy it or you don't get it. That's it. When we had supply drops, at least you got a chance to get the stuff that you wanted, which inherently is better than what we have today, which is just ridiculous if you think about it. When weapons were locked away within supply drops, I think we can all agree that was a bad thing. But when cosmetic content was unlocked for free via a supply drop that you got for grinding the game, that was a lot better than what we have now, which is either you get nothing or you spend $15, $20, even $30 sometimes in the shop of a $60 or $70 game. That is horrible, right? We don't earn anything anymore. You either buy it or nothing. And I think there's many people in the community that will just immediately say, it's almost a meme at this point, like supply drops bad supply drops, ooh, bad. There's no redeeming factors. And that's exactly what I think Activision wants you to say, because they want the whales to keep on blowing $100+ every single year to buy Call of Duty and then blow another couple $100 every single year on in-shop items, as compared to those players who actually grind the game a ton to actually be able to earn the content by playing. Again, I'm not saying supply drops should return, but I am saying it was awesome that just by playing the game and grinding the contracts in multiplayer, zombies, and Blackout, you could get a lot of post-launch content without ever having to spend a dime, which is much better in my opinion than now, where you get no post-launch content because it's all in the shop. I mean, you get the free guns and the free maps and whatnot, but when we're talking about like cosmetics, like blueprints, weapon camos, operators, you know, specialist skins, things like that, all that stuff is in the shop 100%. You don't earn any of it just by playing the game anymore, which is ridiculously frustrating. And then finally, to wrap up Black Ops 4 here, Blackout. I mean, you guys have heard me say this before, I'll say it again. Blackout, in my opinion, is better than Warzone in every way except for one. The one thing being that at the time, there was no way to revive a teammate in the traditional Battle Royale mode. That was pretty much it. Like, if you're playing with a group of your friends, you're playing quads, you drop Nuketown Island, you know, your buddy Jimmy ends up dying, and then the rest of you are still alive, well, Jimmy just has to spectate you while the three of you continue playing the match because there's no way to bring Jimmy back. I think if they would have found a way to introduce some form of like a one respawn, or, you know, grab his tag and go to a respawn station or something like that, then Blackout would have been better. But other than that, Blackout was absolutely incredible. You had a beautiful map that was filled with iconic locations like Nuketown Island, you had the firing range, you had the zombies map Buried, you had the zombies map Verrucked, the transit diner was there was an Old West version of Standoff, they added the hijacked boat out there in the ocean. The map had absolutely everything, and it was updated with every single season as well, and it was beautiful to look at. Like, this is not like me just like cherry picking. This is literally the first image I found on Google of the Blackout map. Now let's compare that to the newest Warzone map, Ashika Island. There's no color correction, there is no photo editing, there is nothing here. Which one of these is better to look at? Blackout, 100%. If you say Ashika Island, either you have a vision impairment or you're incredibly depressed, and I hope you pull through, man. I do. But jokes aside, like, the map itself was beautiful, and you had to explore the entirety of that map because loot had to be, well, looted. Pretty much in this game mode. There was no loadout, there was no meta weapons. You had to go find your guns, you had to find your attachments, you had to find your perks, find your equipment, you had to go and find everything. If you weren't happy with what you currently had, you had to keep on exploring the map and just following the circle, moving to new areas and taking on other players so you could hopefully kill them and take their stuff. It was a proper battle royale, as compared to, I think Warzone in a lot of ways now is almost like a glorified team deathmatch. You know what I mean? It's not about winning the game anymore. It's about playing Ashika Island and seeing if you could drop 40 kills or something like that, because everyone just keeps respawning. You know, like, this was proper Battle Royale. It was so much fun. And on top of everything, you had an entire prestige and leveling system specific to Blackout, where you would unlock Blackout specific characters for leveling up. You also unlocked more characters that could be used in the game mode by finding items on the map and doing specific challenges with those items in your inventory. Some examples, you could unlock the entire Zombies crew, the old Zombies crew, the iconic characters like Woods and Reznov. You had the number skins, which looked incredible, which could also be used in multiplayer. So I personally made a point to get the number skin on every single specialist in Blackout, so I could then use that skin in multiplayer just to show off how big of a nerd I was. I mean, this mode had everything. Like, one of the big things that battle royales tend to mess up is like there's nothing to grind for besides just trying to win the game. Like, if you play and you don't win, sure, you may have fun, maybe you're improving and stuff like that, but you're not actually working towards anything. You know, either it's win or nothing. That's kind of what Warzone is right now. Either you win or you feel like you kind of wasted your time. In a game like Blackout, you were leveling up in Blackout and you're working towards these different prestige icons and different character skins. You had the different characters you could unlock by finding their items on the map and doing challenges that way. Like, every single game of Blackout, you were working towards something. There was never a game where you just felt like you wasted your time. You know what I mean? And you also had proper stat tracking, which Warzone can't even do for some reason. Like, everything about Blackout was fantastic. And obviously, if you guys played Black Ops 4, there was no campaign. There was some single player missions you could do, but in general, I'm going to skip the campaign aspect of Black Ops 4 because it wasn't really there. It was a multiplayer focused game. And as I look back and just review everything from the multiplayer to zombies to Blackout and how everything just transpired over the course of the entire year, it was such a fun game. It was one of the last CODs like I actually played the entire year through, and I continued to play it once Modern Warfare 2019 came out because, well, Modern Warfare 2019 was Modern Warfare 2019. Black Ops 4 is fantastic, man. I loved every aspect of that game. When the game's life cycle ended, they eventually made it so you could start getting DLC weapons that you may have missed from previous battle passes and from previous supply drops. And what you could do is you could just save up your supply drops, and then for 50 of them, you could get any DLC weapon in the game or any mastercraft or anything like that. You could just simply play the game, grind the game, Blackout multiplayer and zombies, save up your supply drops, and directly earn the content that you wanted. That was a good idea. I mean, supply drops themselves, they were annoying because there were certain weapons that were incredibly good that were locked away within supply drops, and that is never a good thing. It's never a good thing. If I were to say like the biggest negative of Black Ops 4 was it was a game that was kind of held back by the antiquated monetization models that Call of Duty had kind of been known for, which was paid DLC and supply drops. Now, as I laid out in this video, I try to be objective in every video that I make. I don't just, come here to complain or whatever, just fanboy on things, but, there were some positives to supply drops, which I outlined, but the negatives definitely outweighed those positives. And there were some positives to the paid DLC model as well, but I also think that the negatives outweigh the positives in that respect. But for what we had in Black Ops 4, the game was absolutely incredible. I had so much fun with this game, and to this day, I still want to go back and play it more because there's still stuff to grind for in the game, even all these years later. Like, this is what happens, I think, when Treyarch actually has time to put together their game. I mean, Black Ops Cold War had some redeeming factors, but if you guys recall, it was Sledgehammer Games and Raven Software that were working on a Cold War era game. The game apparently was turning out terrible, and then Treyarch had to stop everything they're doing because Activision forced Treyarch to go take over that game, which resulted in Black Ops Cold War. So I do have hope that in COD 2024, which will be Treyarch's next game, that with all these years they've had to refine their systems and refine their gameplay and things like that, that we're going to have another game like Black Ops 4 that, for me anyway, was a lot of fun the entire year through and had me wanting to log in and play every single day because there was always something more to work towards. I think it's something we've lost in Call of Duty in recent years. I feel like there's nothing to work for in COD anymore. They got rid of Prestige mode. The challenge system is completely pointless. The only thing to really grind for is the Battle Pass, and I'm not buying that. Like, what is there to grind for? I got Orion camo in Modern Warfare 2, so now what is there for me to grind for? Literally nothing. That's it. Just literally nothing. And Black Ops 4, to this day, still has things that I could go back and I could grind for, which is pretty insane if you think about it. It kind of just goes to show like where Call of Duty was and where it currently is right now. But ladies and gentlemen, that is all for this video here today. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts and feedback down there in the comments, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.